undo. So Control Y, you can see it's putting everything back. So Control Z, undo, Control Y, undo my undo, or redo, if you will. Next one, I'm going to open up a document here. And you'll see this sometimes in meetings. You'll be in a meeting and there'll be a nice agenda on the screen, and all of a sudden there's this big page break here, and it just really disrupts the whole flow. People can't see things, can't see the full agenda. One really quick way to get rid of that, to make it a continuous flow, is move your cursor right to that gap. And you see right there, this text code comes up. It says double click to hide the white space. If I double click there, now it's continuous. Okay, so this is a very nice tip for those of you that have to lead presentations. To put it back, I just move my cursor to the line and double click again, and I'm back to the normal format. If I was to print it out, by the way, it would print out normally, even if it was condensed like that, but this is more for presentation purposes. There's an additional way to do this. If I go View, I can say Web Layout, and now you can see that it's more like if it was on a web page, everything is filling up the whole screen. Some people like this because it is more expansive. Many people like it to be the normal Word type of layout. Either way, it accomplishes the same thing, that you can see everything in a continuous format rather than having that annoying break. Okay, let me go back to my original document. If you want to select the word, you can double click on the word itself. And you notice now I can drag. Once it's selected, I can move things around. If I want to do a whole sentence, it's Control. Let me just do it again. Now if I hold Control and click on some word in the sentence, it'll select the whole sentence, and I can likewise move that around. If I want to do a whole paragraph, I triple click. 1, 2, 3, triple click, and now I can move that around. If I want to change size of the font, I'm going to type it out here just so you can see it, but of course you don't have to type this out when you're actually using it. I can use the right bracket, or the left bracket, or the right bracket. So I'm going to select some text here, and if I do Control left bracket, it makes it smaller, and if I do Control right bracket, it makes it bigger. One thing about it is that you notice here, when I use the option on the ribbon to select the font size, 13's missing, right? Isn't that interesting? But if I use that control feature, I actually can get 13. So it just gives you a little bit more finer control over your font size if you need to have that in between size to format your document. Case, sometimes you'll be typing and you forget that your caps lock is on and you're like, you just totally messed up the case. If you select the text that you want to change, Shift F3, let me do it again, lets me change the case automatically. So you can see it's putting all uppercase, all lowercase, or all sentence case. So it's a very neat feature. You don't have to take off your caps locks and type it all over again. That allows you to do it very, very conveniently. When you're bolding a word, let's say I want to bold this word contain, you may know that you can select the word and click the B for bold or press Control B. But there's actually a simpler way to do it. I can simply click in the word itself and press Control B. I don't have to select the whole word. So that might save you a step. You don't have to select the word just as long as the cursor is in the word. When you press Control B, it'll bold that word, or press the button here up in the ribbon. Next one is Paste Special. You'll notice here in this agenda, you notice how, like, for example, this line has all this special formatting, special font, colors, that sort of thing. If I copy it, and I go to my other document as an example, and I paste it, well, sometimes I do want all that formatting to come with it, but sometimes I don't. And that happens particularly like if you're in Excel. If you're taking a little bit of data and you're copying into Excel and you don't want all that stuff to come with it, you just want the raw text. The way you may know how to do this by going under Paste, Paste Special, and then saying I want it to be unformatted. When you click OK, now it comes in with the formatting of the current document. Okay, so you avoid all that extra formatting and just have it as simple as possible. But here's a quicker way to do it. If I press, we all probably know Control V is to paste, but if I do Control Alt V, that immediately takes me into the Paste Special choices and skips that extra step of having to go up to the ribbon and use the pull down and doing paste special. So quick way to get to paste special is instead of just Control V, Control Alt V. Okay, very neat tip, and very good and very useful in, like I said, in Excel. Here's something that happens every once in a while. Why are all these formatting characters appearing in my document? What's going on? How do I get rid of them? And they don't realize that it's this button right up here in the paragraph section of the ribbon that enables or disables that feature. So if that ever happens to you, don't worry about it. Just go up there, click it on or click it off, and you're back to the normal format. How come my ribbon's missing? What happened to my ribbon? And Control F1 toggles the ribbon off and on. And you know, what's the likelihood of somebody having pressed Control F1 by mistake? Very small. But usually what will happen is they don't realize that you can also do that by double-clicking on your tabs. If I double-click on the tab, it turns it off and on. So sometimes people will double-click on that tab and it'll go away. All we have to do is double-click it again, or like I said, Control F1, toggles it on and off. And that's a neat feature because you can see more of your document that way. You know, it's a quick way to be able to get it out of the way so that you can see more of the content. Okay, so that's it for Word. Let me go ahead and move on to Outlook. In my first example, I want to show how a quick way to be able to send a message with an attachment. Now, we all know we can create a new message. We can then click the paperclip. We can then find the file and then attach it. But a quick way to do it is if I just take that document that I want to attach and drop it into my inbox. I think it's because it's already open. I'm going to take this one instead. I must not be in the inbox. One of the rules is you must be in the inbox. I'm going to just drop it in my inbox, and it will immediately create a new message with that attachment. I'm feeling, there it is. If you simply drop the attachment right into your inbox, it'll immediately create a message with that file attached. So that's a nice time-saving feature. Here's another one. If I have some text that I copy into my clipboard, C, Control A, Control C, I can create a new message in Outlook. In Outlook, I'm in my inbox. If I press Control V, it automatically creates a new message and puts whatever is in my clipboard in the body of that message. So quick way, Control V, paste. So in other words, you put your cursor in your inbox, and when you paste, it interprets that as you want to create a new message and automatically pastes that clipboard information into the body of the message. With Excel, two of my most favorite features are, if you need to enter today's date, you can simply press Control semicolon. So if you're updating, you know, current information, like for example, I have a spreadsheet where I track systems that go out for repair, and I put the date that they're returned, I can simply press Control semicolon. It immediately puts in the current date. Another thing that I can do is, let's say that I'm typing in data and I want to copy the data that's immediately above to the cell below, Control D. Think of it as copy down, right? Control D. And if I wanted to copy it to the right, Control, yes, you guessed it, Control R. Very quick way to be able to manipulate data in Excel. When I click a cell, you'll notice that it puts a border around it, and there's a little square in that extremely lower right-hand corner. That little square is called a fill handle. Now, I'll talk about that in a moment, but you'll notice that if I drag the edge of the cell, I can move the cell. And if I hold the Control key and drag it, I can copy the cell. Okay, so you don't have to do Control C, Control V, all that stuff. Just use that Control key and drag it wherever you want it to be. Now, we all know that we can add an additional row or additional column, for that matter, by simply right-clicking and clicking Insert. But what if I want to insert multiple rows in one action? Again, I can use that fill handle. So you can see here I've selected that first line. Let me do a better example here for underneath Chicago. Let's say I wanted to add 3 lines under Chicago. If I press Shift and I drag that fill line 3, immediately I can add those 3 lines. Same thing with my columns. If I wanted to add multiple columns here, if I hold Shift and I drag the fill handle, I can now add 3, just like that. Okay? I'm going to undo it, Control Z. The fill handles also have some other interesting properties. If I have a number and I wanted to copy that data down, I can just simply click on the fill handle, and you'll notice for numbers, it'll copy all the way down to until there's a break in the data of the column immediately to the left of it. If I have a date, for example, Control semicolon, I'm going to put today's date in there. If I use the fill handle, you'll notice that it increments it. Okay? However, if I want it to be just a static date, I can hold the Control key, and now it will copy it. So that Control key says don't increment the dates, simply copy it until as far as I drag that fill handle. Now, we notice here we have months of the year. If I use the fill handle, it can see that I'm using months of the year and will automatically fill in with the next months. Let's say I have January 2013, and I drag that fill handle. You'll notice that it knows that's a date, a year in this case, and when it hits the next January, it's automatically going to increment to 2014. Even if I do something like Q quarter 1 and I drag it, it knows that there's 4 quarters of the year. So it will automatically increment it. Let's say that I want to use alphabet, A, B, C, D. There's kind of an obscure way of doing that. What I do is I enter equal. If I enter char, and even I have to check on when I'm doing this, and it's B65, enter, I get that letter A. Now if I drag it, it's going to do all the letters of the alphabet. See, if I just do the letter A, and I try to do it, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to increment it. See, it doesn't increment it. But if you use that special formula, then it allows you increments the letters. Let's say that I wanted, for some reason, all the odd numbers. If I was to select those two and drag, it would immediately know that these are odd and will continue that pattern. So that's a neat feature that I select. In this case here, what I did is I selected both the first and second cell, and when I dragged down using the fill handle, it kept the pattern. If for some reason I wanted to repeat 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, I could do Control, drag, and then it would repeat that pattern. Okay? So Control is kind of like whatever the native behavior of the fill handle is, reverse it when you hold down the Control key when you drag that fill handle.